Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Gran Turismo 7 to take a very first look at update 1.44 and two of the three cars that have come with it. One of them is the Toyota GT1 race car, which is way out of my budget. I don't have enough for that, so we're not going to really be looking at that today. We're not really able to. But the other two are the Lamborghini Urus and the Audi R8, both of which are priced at 300,000 credits, and of course we have driven them in other games previously, so the main focus is going to be on the customization options for both of them, I think. As with most Gran Turismo updates, there are a few other new things. There's a new extra menu book for Jaguars, for example, and there are some new Fukushima backdrops in the Scapes section. Let's see, there's quite a few of these. Always great to see more Scapes added, because you can make some truly incredible photographs here in Gran Turismo. The Lamborghini Urus is available from Brand Central for 300,000 credits, and is available in a selection of colours, including, well, many greys and whites, but also a yellow, Rosso Mars, which is a sort of orangey red, a darker red, and a couple of blues. So I went for Rosso Mars to be a little bit different, because I think a lot of people go for the yellow on these. So as the Lamborghini Urus has been around for a little while now, and has been in pretty much every racing game to have existed in the past decade, it probably doesn't need much explaining really. We all know by now that it's essentially an Audi Q8 sporty version, with a V8 at the front, but with some Italian styling to try and make it more exciting and exotic, despite it being a rather boring SUV. Having said that, it does produce 641 horsepower, which I suppose makes it not that boring, but it does weigh over 2 tons, complete with its all-wheel drive system and just the sheer size of the thing. So yeah, it's not the most dynamic vehicle, but it's a pretty fast SUV. As ever, Gran Turismo 7 does not disappoint. You can wide-body the Lamborghini Urus with these sort of, I think they might even be carbon fibre bigger arch bits. In terms of further visual modifications, there are a few bits. There's a couple of front options. One of them's a sort of extended splitter, which is kind of track focused, and one of them's kind of a tougher off-roady looking part. I don't think it's really right on this car, so let's go with Type A. The side, we can black out that silvery bit, which I think looks a lot better. At the back, we can swap the silver for carbon fibre, which I think might be what actually happened on the side. And the wing has no custom options, interestingly. It has wingless, Type A, which adds a bigger lip to the boot, and Type B, which adds a bigger top spoiler and lip spoiler, so I think we'll go with that. There are, of course, also bonnet pins, but I don't think that really looks right on this, and tow hooks, so let's not do that. The lights are already kind of a cool colour, but I think we go with even cooler headlights. We can, of course, get rid of the front plate, so I think we do that. And, most excitingly, we can add Lamborghini Huracan Starato style front spotlights. That is brilliant. You could make a really cool kind of off-road version of this if you'd gone with the sort of bash bar and engine protectory underbit in those lights, I think. Although it was available in a few quite nice Lamborghini manufacturer colours, it wasn't the whole range, so I think we need to have a look at it in some other colours, like Arancio Argos, for example, which I think was the launch colour of the Aventador. So there's some nice oranges that weren't available. Obviously we had the red, and, of course, some greens, including Verde Mantis, which I think in reality is available, or was available on these. So that is quite tempting. There's also some nice blues, and of course, Verde Draco is always quite cool. I think we're going to have to go Verde Mantis though, because there aren't any nice purple manufacturer Lamborghini colours in this game. So let's do that. I think though we need to do this lower section in black, because that includes the wheel arches. That looks a little bit better. I don't know if we can fix the... No, I don't want a black rear wing. I want that rear diffuser in black, really. I think we might have to go with that, which unfortunately does the bonnet as well. I mean, I think overall it's better, but I would have liked to not do the bonnet. In that case, I think we also need to do those. Not exactly how I wanted it, but I think it's okay. We need to change those brake calipers, though. So I have no doubt you could get the Lamborghini Urus to well over 1,000 horsepower here in the upgrade shop, but what I wanted to do was focus on weight reduction, so I've taken out stage 1 of weight, stage 2 of weight, and stage 3 of weight. What I did find though was with the high RPM turbocharger, it was well north of 800 horsepower, which is why I thought with some other upgrades it would probably get further than that. The only thing I've taken from higher up than there is the carbon ceramic brakes so that we can change the caliper colours, and I gave some brake pads to go with those, as well as some slightly better suspension, which hopefully means we can lower it as well, maybe? But quite a straightforward set of upgrades. I didn't want to go too far with it, because I'm not going to be using it for any events or something. I just want to make it slightly more drivable. I was able to get weight down to 1,500 kilos, which isn't too bad. I have though done sports computer and air filter and silencer just to increase the power a tiny bit without going too far, and given it a bit more grip with some sports softs. The upgraded brakes already give us some red calipers, which I think don't look too bad, although I think maybe we need to go for either the black or the green. I think the green's almost close enough to the paint colour to get away with. Yes. So, just to see how it sits on fully lowered suspension, I've dropped it as far as it goes, and I'm hoping when this pans out, it's going to look more like a Lamborghini hatchback or estate car than the SUV it started as by putting it that much lower to the ground. Not quite, but I think it's a lot better than it was. Yeah, it's definitely an improvement. I'm not sure how comfortable it would be now, but this is a game. We want it to drive dynamically, not be comfortable. Driving the Urus again around Monza after the modifications, I was surprised how much difference they actually made to the way it drove through the corners. Obviously I didn't add much power, and I was also surprised how much louder just putting the exhaust, sports exhaust on it made it. I can't imagine what the racing one would have been like. But it makes it a really nice car to drive now, although in reality all of that weight reduction would of course mean the whole SUV became rather less useful, at which point you might as well have a more sporty car anyway. So the second car we're going to look at, and in fact the second Audi technically that we're going to look at, is the R8 Coupe V10 Plus, which is also available from Grand Central for 300,000 credits in a similar selection of colours. Again, there's lots of greys and whites, but there's also a yellow, a sort of orangey red, a darker red, a blue, and a couple of greeny colours. And I've gone for Vegas yellow, which I think looks really good on the Audi R8. So then, this second generation of Audi R8 is almost the opposite of a Lamborghini Urus, in that this Audi shares a lot of parts with the Lamborghini Huracan, including that 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 engine, which puts out 601 horsepower, which is actually less than the Urus we just looked at. This car does way less though at 1,454 kilos, although that's not particularly light, mostly down to its all-wheel drive system, and this means it does suffer from understeer somewhat. It would definitely benefit from losing a little bit of weight, this car. So again, and I'm rather unsurprised by this now, we can wide-body the R8, which actually looks a bit weird, but I'm going to do it. We can fill those arches out a bit more in a minute. So we're going to need some wheels. There are quite a lot of options. Those I actually quite like on here, but I think we need to go with a more modern-looking set, probably. I think these BBS wheels, so then we obviously need to go, we'll leave them as 20s, but make them wide and more offset, and then they'll fill the arches, whilst not looking too aftermarket. As usual, there are two front splitter options, that one and the absolutely mad one. Sure, why not? Let's go completely all out on this. Again, on the side, we can go quite extreme, or very, very, very extreme. The rear, we've got a badge delete. That's interesting. I've not seen that before. Or a badge delete and the diffuser of all time. Yes. And the wing Obviously there's wingless, which makes it look not like the Plus, I suppose. There's Type A, which I think is sort of a manufacturing Type B, which is also a manufacturing option, or custom wing set, which also allows us to go quite mad and put something like that on. But as it's an option and it's also quite insane, I think we need to go with Type B. Then we've basically got full Audi kit on it, I think. As we've gone quite extreme, I think we can get away with some bonnet pins as well. It's kind of turned into a track car accidentally. And that, sure, why not? Can't put a roll cage in it though. Again, let's make those super cool. It's only 150 credits. Improves how it looks a bit, and I think we need to get rid of that so that it's that. We can also debadge the front grille as well as the rear. Interesting, lots of debadging options. Kind of a shame more games don't do that, but also it's kind of a shame if they're going to do that we can't also remove the Audi badges, because I think that would look really cool. So I do have some quite interesting Audi manufacturer colours. There's Brilliant Red, which is kind of a brighter, more metallic red than was available from the dealership. There's Papaya Orange, which I don't think is really bright enough for Papaya. Goodwood's too dark, I think, as is Black. And also one of the purples, the Venetian Violet, I think is a bit too dark. But we do have this, which I also used on an Audi TT in this game, and I think, as it's an option, we kind of have to do that. What we might be able to do, though, is make... No, I don't want to make that bit a different colour. We might be able to make some of it. Yeah, that would be good. If we could make the side blades black. A little bit better. It would be better if they were carbon, really, like they started as, but due to the unique way this game works, if we paint a car a manufacturer colour, we can't then do that. We could possibly make the wing black as well. Perfect. So as the R8 ended up quite so insane, I felt I had to give it some performance modifications to match that. So I tried my hardest to get it over 1000 horsepower, but it would only get to 991. I did though reduce weight to 1134 kilos by, well, doing quite a lot of upgrades, including carbon ceramics, so we can change the colour of the calipers of course, but basically put all the power mods I can, well, the best version of everything onto the car, including a high RPM turbocharger. So again, by default the brake calipers are red, which I don't think quite works with this colour. I actually really like the gold, but white also looks quite good, as does black. I think though, unusually, I'm going to go for gold. It matches the BBS logo as well. And even the modifications on this Audi R8 didn't make it completely undrivable, surprisingly, even though I went quite mad with them. Mostly, apart from the first time that I braked very hard and entirely lost control of it. But if you're slightly careful with that, it seemed okay. It accelerates insanely quickly, but it still handles a lot better than it did originally. So overall, it does seem better, which I'm kind of surprised by. I thought it would be completely undrivable everywhere after the upgrades. And that is going to do it for a very first look at two of the brand new cars that have arrived as part of Update 1.44 here on Gran Turismo 7, the Lamborghini Urus and of course the Audi R8 V10 Plus. That though is going to be all for today's video. Do let me know your thoughts on this update and the couple of cars that we've tested out today. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next one very soon.